Flight attendants verified, disarm door, stand by for on call.
The day that 9/11 happened, I was actually taking Haley to kindergarten that day, and I came back home and got into the house, and I turned on the news, which I normally do, and I instantly saw all over the news where a commercial jet hit one of the World Trade Centers. And I stopped and I looked at it on TV, and I thought to myself, I said, there's instantly something wrong with that. It can't be pilot error, because no pilot that I know at American Airlines would ever do that in any circumstance. So I knew that it had to be something greater and different than that. Then by the time the second one hit, I knew that it wasn't pilot error. Just about everybody knew it was terrorism. It was a real surreal situation, because I knew as a flight attendant that it had to be a pretty bad situation on those airplanes for someone to get into the cockpit. When the Department of Transportation shut down flying, there weren't any planes in the air at all, and it was really strange not to hear that when you walked outside and didn't see anything flying over you at all, ever. And I think it was for almost a couple weeks. I can't remember exactly how long it was. May have been shorter than that. But when American Airlines started calling us to see if we were coming back to work, a lot of people didn't want to, and rightfully so. They were begging the flight attendants to come back to work when the planes were allowed to fly again. I chose not to for a little while, but when I did, I made sure that I decided to take a position on the airplane to work where it worked up front in first class, because I knew that if I didn't face that fear of working in front of the cockpit door, basically, in first class, that I probably would have a hard time coming back at all. I was hired with American Airlines in 1988, and I was about almost 25 years old. I was just shy of my 25th birthday. After takeoff, when we reach safe cruising altitude, the flight attendants in the back and the front, first thing we do is when we get up out of our jump seats, we have to go into the galley and just get things started. So usually what we do is we get the carts ready, and we try to get as much of the cart ready on the ground during boarding before takeoff, so that it won't be so hard on your body, because after you take off, any type of physical work that we do in the galleys after takeoff is much harder because of the position that the plane is in the air. So it's harder on your body to actually get things done in the galleys after takeoff. So we try to get as much done in the galleys before takeoff that we possibly can, so it limits the abuse it puts on your body during flight to get things done. So usually one of the first things we do after takeoff is we we all help and get the beverage cart ready, whatever we have to do to get the beverage cart ready for our beverage service. And then also what we do sometimes, if we have time, is while that's being done, maybe one flight attendant will go out and sell headsets. Most 29 years of being a flight attendant, in a situation like that, it's easy for someone to look back and say, oh, I'm so, sick and tired of this job. I've been doing it for so long. But really, in actuality, I look back and I think about all the situations, first of all, that I've had to deal with and resolve on the plane, and it really does make a difference when I know that I've played a part in either helping somebody on the airplane get to their final destination. You never know why somebody's flying. They could be going for some event that's happy, or they could be going to somebody's funeral. They could be doing something and visiting somebody who they haven't seen in 35 years. So it's always a pleasure finding out who you can help on the plane, and really what their purpose is for traveling, because you always want to make it the best for them you possibly can, because you really don't know people's situation once they step on the airplane. They don't always go for pleasure to these places. So I like having a job where, it sounds funny to say, but I kind of like having a job where I don't really know what's going to happen. It kind of keeps me on my toes, and you know, kind of keeps me wanting to come back.